Oh, okay, flaming dragon, fuckface. First, take a big step back and literally fuck your own face! Now, I don't know what kind of pan-Pacific bullshit power play you're trying to pull here, but Asia, Jack, is my territory. So whatever you're thinking, you better think again. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to head down there, and I will rain down on a godly fucking firestorm upon you. You're gonna have to call the fucking United Nations and get a fucking binding resolution to keep me from fucking destroying you. I am talking scorched earth, motherfucker! I will massacre you! I will fuck you up!
Helps if I turn on my microphone. Yo! Oh, goodness. I'm kind of awake. Maybe. A little bit. Sort of. Oh, goodness. I've actually only been awake for like an hour. Maybe less than that. So, I'm a little groggy. But hopefully everybody's doing good. Yeah. So, we got an interesting stream today. In the sense of what we're doing. So, I don't have a whole lot to comment about today. In regards to, like, stuff. There is a question. Tokupunk wants to know, why is the MG Sinanju so pricey? I will answer that here in just a second. But, speaking of the Sinanju, what we are doing, one thing that makes the sleeves mobile suits interesting, whenever you're working on them, is the fact that they have the sleeve design on their sleeves. And, the thing about the paint, or the part, is it's not part separated. They expect you to put either a sticker or a decal over that area. But one thing you can do to not do that, if you don't want to use decals, is called the reverse wash technique, where you basically take your lacquer paints and you paint over them, or you paint your normal layers, but you paint over it with a black, like a gloss black, that is an acrylic. And then you use an acrylic thinner to strip that paint off of the part that you want the opposite color. And we're going to be doing that today, see how it looks. And then if it doesn't get quite right, you can always touch it up with a Gundam marker. So, let's go ahead and get into that. But to answer a question real quick, Tokupunk wants to know why it is the Sinanju is as pricey as it is. Let me actually show you a trend real quick. Hold on one second. Let's go to new type. And I'm going to bring up some kits. Let's go master grade. In stock. Price high to low. So let's grab the Sinanju, the Sinanju Stein, the Hainu Verka, which I really want to get my hands on at some point. And then let's compare it to... Actually, let's grab the narrative as well. Now let's compare it to some other cheaper ones. So let's grab... the V2, the Double X, the Jagan, and the Marasai. Okay, so his question was, why is it that some of these kits cost more than the others? So let me go ahead and bring up my desktop. So here we've got the Sinanju. Now I got mine on sale, but normally it costs $88, which is pretty pricey. This is actually pretty close in cost to the Sazabi Verka, which is like $100. Then we got the Sinanju Stein narrative version, $83. This is actually, I hate to say, tempting to get, even though I already have a Sinanju Stein. It still looks good. Anyway. Then we have the Hainu Gundam Verka, which is about the same price. I really want to get my hands on this. Then we've got the narrative. This just came out as well. I don't know if I want to do this one. I haven't decided yet. Might be one of those, if people donate for it, I'll do it. But I haven't decided if I want to do the narrative. But the narrative's $72. Right? Now we go down to the V2. This is $55 for the Verka. This kit is infamously a hand grenade as well. I still want to build it at some point though, because I like the V2. It's a cool design. So this is $55. This is the Gundam Double X. It's $55 as well. Then we have the Jagan. And the Marasai. Both listed around $49. So why are these cheaper? Well, there's two factors. The first is size. Generally speaking, if a mobile suit is on the larger side in regards to its scale, it will cost more. Like, let me give you an example. I'm gonna put some mobile suits here in front of my hobby camera that are of 3 different sizes, so that you can kind of compare, how, like, you can kind of get an idea of how much they cost. Give me one sec. Okay, so what is the big difference? Size is a big part of it. So if we look at my hobby desk camera real quick, I'm going to pull it back. So we've got 3 mobile suits here. And as you can see, they are all different sizes. We have the Tall Geese 2. This cost me about $50 plus shipping. This is a P Bandai exclusive. Then we have my Jagan. Customizing Yu Kajima colors, Natch. This was about $60. You can see it's a bit bigger in regards to size than the Tall Geese. Then we have the Sinanju Steinver Ka, the original one. This is the one from Unicorn, from the video game, and from the MSV series. This thing is a monster. This one is it is as tall, like head-wise, as the Sazabi. This one cost me $88. Generally speaking, whenever Bandai charges you more for a model kit, there's more plastic in it. So the Sinanju has a lot of stuff. This has a massive mobile suit plus weaponry to the max. It's got a big ass beam rifle. It's got beam sabers. It's got a bazooka that you don't see here because I never painted it. But it's got a bazooka as well. There's a lot of plastic on this kit. And it's just huge. So that is why it costs as much as it does. The same thing with the Sinanju we're building today. It's the same size as this because it's basically the same mobile suit, but this is a Federation design, and then the Sinanju OVA version is the Xeon makeover of the same mobile suit. The Jagan, though it is bigger, because it's not that much smaller than the Sinanju. It's like, it is smaller, but it's not like huge amount smaller, right? The reason that this doesn't cost as much, there's a lot less plastic. I built and painted this whole thing in 24 hours. I did it fast, and it's perfect. And all it has for accessories, beam rifle, shield. That's it, nothing else. The Tall Geese, it's kind of similar thing. It has more weaponry. It has a couple of beam sabers. It's got the Dober gun. It's got a more complex backpack. And generally it's just a more complex build, but it's small, so it doesn't cost as much to put together. See, another good example of like another kit that doesn't have a whole lot to it is the Jim, our little friend here. This only cost me like $50. And yeah, I keep Jim in here because I haven't done his shield yet. But generally speaking, yeah, that is the difference. Is the Mara side does not have a lot of weaponry. It has a beam rifle and a couple of beam sabers, and that's it. The Jagan doesn't have a whole lot to it. The Double X is a smaller kit because it's a post-victory mobile suit. They didn't start making mobile suits big again until Seed, oddly enough. Well, and of course, whatchamacallit, Turn A. Because the Turn A is big. That's a big boy. So that's the reason why you see the price discrepancies between the kits. Is it has a lot to do with the amount of plastic that is inside the actual kit. I'm going to put trays back here. I'm going to put my Jagan back. I love this suit. I want to build another one at some point with a different color scheme. And then let's go ahead and take my Sinanju back as well. Okay. So that is the reason for that. Hopefully I answered your question. No wonder Bandai likes real grades the most. Yeah, they're cheaper to produce, admittedly. That's why they focus on 1/144th scale over 1/100 right now. Right now, anyway. I think that as they focus on the MGSDs, they're going to start noticing that they're selling master grades consistently in the West, and they're going to start putting them out again. I think they're just taking their time in regards to what kinds that they're doing. Hey, Joel, he says, picked up the Razor Glass file and the new nippers from Gundam Place. Oh, really? Gundam Place is right down from where you live. That's awesome. It is very much my pleasure to recommend, my dude. Now, as you see here, I did clean up a little bit. At least just a little bit. This is going to take a little bit more elbow grease to get it completely clean. All I used on it was rubbing alcohol and water. So yeah. It is, the desk is looking a little bit better, a little bit more organized, a little bit cleaner. And we're not going to be using the, let me move my microphone over. Move my webcam over as well. We're not going to be using the spray booth as much today. We're mostly going to be focusing on just stripping paint, basically. So what we need for this are a couple of things. First, we get our Tamiya thinner. The paint that I used, I just got it in, is right here. It is Tamiya black. They don't say it, but this is effectively a gloss black. And it's very good looking, and you're about to see. It's as good looking as the Mr. Color stuff, honestly. That is a great glossy sheen. Here, let me do this so that the camera will focus a little bit better. Come on. Come on. You know you want to. You can kind of see it. There. Oh my God, camera. Really? Are you really going to do this to me? Anyway, you can see it's nice and glossy, which is what I'm looking for. Fucking camera, man. I swear. See if this helps. There it goes. Okay, so you can see the details on the kit now. And yeah, it's a very beautiful, shiny gloss black, which is what I'm looking for. The goal for this kit is to make it flashy, gaudy, a little ostentatious. Because that's what Full Frontal as a character is. So, and then what we're just going to do, I'm going to angle the camera again. 1 second. I got to do a thing here, and then I got to do a thing here. Aha. I think that'll work, right? You might get a view of my thigh every once in a while. It's right over here. Big old thighs, still. I'm told that thick thighs save lives. I think that's only in regards to women, honestly. But I do have some big legs. Granted, I got big everything. So it works. It be how it be. Okay, so what we're going to do is, so we take our Q-tip, we dip it in the thinner. Now the thing is, we don't want it to be dripping with thinner when we do this, because it will fuck up the paint job. So we want to make sure that you've dripped out all the thinner inside of this, so that it's not dripping everywhere. And then what we're just going to do, we're going to take our part, we're going to find the design area, which is down here, and we're just gonna gently rub the Q-tip along it. And as you can see, the paint is starting to come off. See it? It's a subtle thing right now, but as we keep going along, we'll see more of the designs. The gimmick is that because this is a gloss paint, it is a little thicker. So it's going to take a little bit more time to do. And like I mentioned, if you go outside the bounds of the design, don't panic. Because you can touch it up with a Gundam marker very easily. The big thing is that you want to be using a paint that the Gundam marker is going to not, like, overwhelm, right? Just so I can make sure you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. And just be gentle with it. And be patient, because this actually takes multiple tries to get it nice and clean. And this is admittedly a tough design to work around. This Q-tip is kind of fucked, so I'm going to grab a different one. As you guys can see, it's starting to pull that gold out. Now, generally speaking, how you want to do this is you do one pass with your thinner. To get the basics done. Basically, you're kind of getting the bulk of the design stripped off. Another thing I will mention, you will use a lot of Q-tips doing this. Because as we saw earlier with the first paint job that I did on this, it was very successful in regards to technique. It just was not as successful because the paint looked like shit. And touching it up didn't work because the Gundam markers are kind of glossy, whereas the paint I was using was a flat black instead of a gloss black like this. So we keep going gentle. Don't go too crazy. But as you can see, and you'll see it a little bit more clearly in just a second, the whole design of the sleeve is going to show. See? Look at that. That is the reverse wash technique. And as you can see, there's a little spot right here where I got a little out of bounds, but that is what I will touch up with a Gundam marker. Same over on this side. Little things, not a huge deal. And when the touch up gets done, and you could technically touch this up with a brush and paint if you want to. Did I leave a little nub there? It looks like there is a little bit. That's not a big deal. I can file that off. But what we're going to do is we're going to let that dry. We're going to move on to the next one. Because generally speaking, your first pass, not everything's going to look perfect. But if you keep trying it over and over again to clean it up on the first go completely, like 100%, you've got the shine of the gold shining through, you can actually end up stripping all of the paint, which you don't want. So you can see right here, there's some kind of dark spots where that black doesn't want to come off. You just let it sit. Don't get too frustrated about it. One thing that I generally like advise whenever it comes to gunpla building is don't get too frustrated about it. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Don't know why I turned that on earlier. But you don't want to get too frustrated about anything you're doing. You just want to be chill about it. Because, in my humble opinion, the only thing you should honestly get stressed about whenever you're gunpla building is whenever you lose a part. Because it is very much possible to lose a part and you're not able to complete the kit. That is one of the most frustrating things about gunpla building that can happen. But everything else, not worth sweating it. At least not in my not so humble opinion. Ah! Come on. Get a grip, grippy thing. Yeah, when you start to get into gunpla and you start to really get in the groove of painting and stuff like that, it really becomes a very zen thing. I have resigned myself to the idea that if I ever get famous enough to write an autobiography, it is going to be one chapter of it will be titled Zen and the Art of Gunpla. because this is very much my zen time. My time to relax and chill and yap and get stuff off my chest and things along those lines. Okay, I need to change Q-tips. Playing Baldur's Gate 3 again, I'm going for Explorer difficulty to understand the game better. Not a bad idea. Baldur's Gate 3, when you first play it, is a little bit tricky. There's a lot of things you gotta get used to. Because the thing about Baldur's Gate 3 as a video game, I said it in my review video, but I'll reiterate my point, is playing Baldur's Gate 3 is a great experience. It's a fun video game. It is one of the best RPGs that has come out in a very long time. It is like playing Dungeons and Dragons with a DM who fucking hates you when it comes to actual gameplay. Because every once in a while you'll get that sadistic dungeon master that just wants to watch you all fucking suffer. That's kind of what Baldur's Gate 3 is like. Yeah, there's some spots I'll have to touch up there. But still, it's not looking too bad as a start. The big thing is, this is some thick fucking paint. Would you say Char's Zaku 2.0 is a good first master grade? I would say it's not a bad one. The thing about Xeon master grades, generally speaking, is the fucking piping is annoying. Because you have the pipes with all of those sections and the individual rings. You have to paint those if you're painting, and they suck to paint. It takes... There is usually a full painting session that I have to do just for those. It's not very fun. I'm not a fan. Oh, let me move my camera up so you guys can see what I'm doing better. This piece ended up a little messy. It's going to need a lot of touch-up, sadly. I need to put some light on this. Move my glasses, too. Because the thing is, with my glasses, I'm short-sighted. So, sometimes my glasses actually kind of get in the way whenever I'm doing gunplay. Yeah, this piece is going to need a lot of touch-up. So we're going to let that dry, and we will unfuck it here in a minute. Not a big deal. It just happens sometimes. Again, it can all be fixed. So Saw a vid on someone losing his mind doing the pipes. Yeah, it sucks. It's not fun. The rest of Xeon kits are a lot of fun to do. Like I said, the Sharzaku 2, it's not a bad kit for a beginner. It's not the one I would recommend to do first. The first one that I would recommend doing if you're getting into Master Grades is the Master Grade Gundam Ground Type or the Gym Ground Type. Those are where I would start because they are effectively, part-wise, they are not super complex. They're really kind of like what... They're a step up from a high-resolution model, where they have a basic inner frame for the arms, if any at all, because it's an older kit. They have a basic frame for that area, or inner frame. And then for the legs, they have a full inner frame. So what you end up getting is an introduction to what it is like to build a master grade, kind of a basic idea of it. And then you can decide whether or not you enjoy building master grades or not, and then you can go to more complex ones. Whereas the Sharzaku 2 has a full inner frame. Like, you can literally build the inner frame by itself and have a full mobile suit, just without any armor. Because that is a 2.0 kit, and the 2.0 kits are very detailed. They are a lot of fun to build, too. But it's not necessarily the first one I recommend for master grades, because the inner frame is intimidating because of its complexities. I mean, here in a minute, I'll pull out... I actually assembled the inner frame of the legs for this kit last night. Well, more accurately, early this morning. God damn it. I don't have to touch that. I don't have to touch this one up as much, but it's going to get done. But anyway, like the inner frame of the legs of the Sinanju, for example. I'll pull one of them out real quick. So here's the inner frame of the Sinanju for the leg. This is just the leg. It has moving leg verniers that can be angled. Has a back leg vernier that can be adjusted. It even has moving pistons inside of the leg. You're never going to see these, by the way, ever. But it has full skeletal architecture. These take a bit to assemble, but the fact that it has all these neat moving parts to them is fucking incredible. And the posability of a master grade is unparalleled. Nothing touches it. Except, like, you know, like a perfect grade. It goes high grade, real grade, master grade. Because high grades are very basic. They don't have an inner frame. And they are also, generally speaking, again, this is generally speaking, the least detailed of any kits. There are some exceptions to that, but yeah, generally speaking, they're not very detailed in comparison to something like what I'm doing today. High grades are kind of put together in a way that you could build them in like 10 minutes if you're fast. Like they do not take long. They're also very reliant on stickers for color separation, which is something I'm not a fan of, which is why I never build them. Because I remember back in the day, I actually used to have the 1/100 high grade of Wing Zero. Because master grades weren't a thing here in the West yet. But I used to have that one. I remember the stickers on it always falling off. I was not a fan. Now, one thing I will say about this kit, it does come with water slides. If you get this kit and you don't want to do this kind of work, then don't. I am admittedly doing this because I wanted to test the technique. Try it out for myself, see if I could do it. It's just a skill test, basically. Just to see if I'm good enough. I'm just one of those kinds of people that every once in a while when I get into a groove of doing something, I want to throw in something I haven't done just to prove I can do it. Oddly enough, my novella, American Monsters, was exactly that. It was basically just me showing off. To prove I could write a novel. And I'm gonna be honest. Novels are interesting. I don't think I would ever want to be a true blue novelist. Like a Stephen King or something. I would much rather just do comics, honestly. Comics are more fun. And scripting them is not that difficult in comparison to writing a novel. I'm honestly of the belief that there is a kind of like a cultural celebration of novelists for some reason. Gundam action figures. A Green Jim, a Tall Geese, Battle Damaged, Endless Waltz Wing Zero, Gundam Ground Type, and something that looks like the Alex. Nice. See, I don't usually get action figures myself. I think the big appeal for model kits for me is the fact that I have to build them. And I have to do all this work on them. But then again, that's the thing about hobbies. Is that it is effectively something you like to do work on for fun. Which is a very interesting element of the human condition. Some of us work so much that we get stir crazy if we're not working on something. Which is very true of me. And to be honest, if I had been smarter with my money when I was younger, and had gotten a house and stuff when I was younger, trust me when I tell you, if I wasn't doing this, I would probably be doing something like metalworking, knife making, stuff like that, as a side hobby. But I was not smarter with my money when I was younger, so foolish me. But that's life. You live and you learn. The Jim, Ground, and Alex can actually swap arms and weapons. Nice. Alright, let's grab another one. This one doesn't have a whole lot to it. Oh, but I can already see it's going to need touching up. Frick. Frick. Oh, well. The big thing about the Q-tips is that they are admittedly kind of imprecise in comparison to, like, another method. But the problem with if I use, like, a paintbrush is that it's going to be also even more imprecise because the bristles will go everywhere. So, just one of those things where you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound. Not to mention, I'm also just of the attitude that if this doesn't look good when I'm finished with it, after the touch-up, I'm just going to throw the decals on them. Fuck it. Not worth stressing about. Always good to have a backup plan. Definitely have to touch this one up a lot. Unfortunate. What do you guys prefer, by the way? The alert for the super chats or the alert for the Streamlabs? Music-wise, like, I think that the, admittedly, I think the gif of, Elpo Puru running away from Vulcan fire is funnier. Especially out of context, because it's just this 12-year-old girl getting shot at for some strange reason. And, like, running and hitting cover. See, it doesn't look too bad, it's just not as good as it could be. But like I said, a lot of these are going to get touched up. And I will show you how I do that as well. But the music for both of them is different. The Streamlabs one, or the Stream Elements one, I should say, that is Rolento's theme from Street Fighter Alpha 2. And though Rolento is easily the most annoying character in Street Fighter Alpha 2, and most other games he's in, he has a dope fucking theme. One thing that always surprised me... Oh, wow, that came out really good. Look at that. No touch-up needed. At least not yet. But I was always surprised they never put Rolento in, like, the Marvel vs. Capcom games. I always thought he would be a pretty good fit. But maybe that's just me. Yeah, that looks really good. Like that's just stripping off the first bit of paint. And there's not a whole lot of cleanup that needs doing on it. Just a little bit. We're going to let it dry first. That's a really good first run. Hey, Greg, what's up, man? What I have to say is I dig both Street Fighter Alpha 2 and Mega Man X. I will admit, I think Mega Man X had the better soundtrack, but god damn. Capcom's... their music around the SNES era was just on fire. Mega Man X has, like, the best Mega Man soundtrack ever, in my opinion. Because the thing about the Mega Man X soundtrack is that it's, like, shockingly metal. There's some parts of it that legit sound like In Flames riffs. Like, it's nuts. I fucking love it. Surprised not many Final Fight characters made in the Marvel vs. Capcom games. That is true. I think Hagar is the only one so far, right? Because there's a few that have made it into Street Fighter. The most notable being Guy and Cody. And then, the chick with the tonfa, whose name escapes me at the moment, is in, CVS 2. Maki, I think it is? Maki or Taki, one of the two. I don't remember her exact name. Again, I didn't play a whole lot of Final Fight 2. I think I played through it like maybe once. General principle being grab Hagar, pile drive everybody, win. But Maki, that is it. Yeah, she was in CVS too. Then they brought in the chick from Final Fight 3 into Street Fighter 5. My brain wants to call her Lucrezia, but that's not her name. Gabe will probably know offhand. Lucia, that's it. And then Abigail as well. Abigail is also from Final Fight. Abigail! Poison is another one from Final Fight. One of my favorite comments ever on YouTube was on the original trailer for Abigail. I think they ended up removing it because it was too offensive. But it, when it came to Abigail, someone said, I think it's great that they're actually doing some outreach for Autism Speaks with this character. And I was like, oh no. I'm like, that's brutal, man. Funny, but brutal. The funny thing about Abigail, though, when he actually came out, a lot of people ended up really liking him. It's just one of those things where, like, the initial gameplay reveal can be a little deceptive in regards to the overall quality of the character when it actually comes out. Not bad. So just to show you for all these parts how many Q-tips I have used so far. You use a lot of them. And we've been going an hour. Like, reverse wash takes fucking time, man. You have to be dedicated to it. This is why a lot of people are just like, I'm just going to use the water slides. And admittedly, the reason I am doing this, like I said, A, it's to test out the technique to see if I'm good enough to do it. And B, the other reason is whenever you use water slides, there's like an outline that'll get left behind sometimes, and I'm trying to avoid that because on the black it would stick out like a sore thumb. Okay. That one's going to need touching up. That's fine, though. This piece is really basic. Just hit the sides. Simple enough. Thank you, Gabe. I appreciate it, dude. It is, it's one of those things, man, again, some people, for their kits, just to look good, they will go to some pretty good lengths. And this isn't even close to the craziest shit that I've seen. Like, I haven't even started fucking around with, like, pla plate yet. Because there are people that work with pla plate that will make their own custom parts for their own gunpla. There's other stuff I want to do as well. Like, I want to do a resin kit conversion at some point. I don't know for what kit yet, but it's something I want to do. Whoa! That is not a small number. That is a very big number. Columbia, thank you for the 50 $50, said, Serena posted a new manga called The Dark Brown Latina Girl is Aiming for My Body. And I, knowing OkCupid dating statistics, I laughed at the plot of a Latina suddenly wanting to marry the MC and have his babies. Perhaps Japan hasn't moved past Chi Gundam. Oh no. That's a good one. Thank you for that very generous super chat, dude. God damn, man. You know, now that I think about it, so I've had quite a few girlfriends, right? In my lifetime, there are only women of 2 ethnic backgrounds, if we're being general, that I have not dated. I have never dated a Latina. I've never dated a black woman. Granted, the funny thing about it for me is, like, I don't go out of my way looking for minorities to date, don't get me wrong. It's one of those things where I've just, you know, at least for periods of time, clicked with a lot of girls, you know. Like about to go mocha hunting. I do not discriminate. That is my thing. I have found women of all different backgrounds very beautiful. But my most recent girlfriend, who was a nice enough girl, it just didn't work out, she was Asian. And she kind of clued me in on kind of like the typical what Asian girls are into when it comes to men. And she just flat out said tall white guys. And I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah. She actually showed me a text from her sister when she told me when she had met me and after we went on our first date. Because they are all, what was it? Filipino. They're Filipino girls. Said, you know, she said, her sister asks, well, what does he look like? And she said, a tall white guy with a trimmed beard. And her sister goes, you lucky bitch. I'm like, So, I didn't know that was a thing, though. I didn't know that was a thing for Asian girls. That works in my favor. Because I am a tall white guy, to say the least. Not super tall, but I'm tall enough. You know, 6'2" is a pretty good height. The intimidating thing about me, though, is the fact, not so much my height, it's the fact that I'm literally as broad as a door. And if you don't believe me, allow me to demonstrate. So here's my door frame, right? I kid you not, when I walk into a normal sized door, I can't walk in like this. I quite literally get stuck because my shoulders are so goddamn broad. I have to come in through the side like this. So that's usually why I don't say I make a better wall than a window. I say I make a better door than a window. I also don't know if you guys noticed, I got up out of my seat with no pain. My back is almost completely healed. And it feels great too. Like holy shit. There's a little bit of a pinch back there when I'm bending over and stuff, but I would say it's at about 85% right now. Maybe 90. That, for a first run, could not have gone better. Okay. First run on the stripping is good. Let's take a break. Let's go ahead and... So how many Q-tips did this take for the first run? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Took 11 Q-tips. And we're not even done. We gotta let it dry. And after it dries, what is this? After it dries, then we'll go from there. Oh shit. These are the gun tank decals I didn't end up using. It's sitting on my floor. I've sort of cleaned up the room a little bit, but not crazy. But yeah, my back feels pretty good. There's a little tension back there around the area of the injury, but not too bad. And hey, Dojin, I'm doing all right. You know, I was just talking about how my back is feeling better. I seem to have healed from my injury, at least for now. I'm still going to go to the doctor later in the month to get an x-ray done. I want to see if maybe there's something there that's going to consistently agitate it. Because if there is, I'm going to see what I need to do to get it fixed. Because I don't want to have this be a thing that happens again and then I lose another month by not being able to move. Because I'll say this. I'm a big dude. I know I'm a boxer. I know a little bit of amateur wrestling, not a whole lot. I know a little bit of jiu-jitsu, but not a whole lot. I only took a few classes. I know a bit of Muay Thai. I trained that for about 6 months. So not a lot, but enough to get the grasp of certain techniques. My round kicks are fucking terrible, but the rest of it's good. But the general idea, the thing that I don't like about it, is the inability to defend myself whenever if there was an attack. That is a scary feeling, because I've never had that problem, you know, like the tale of like why my finger is fucked up. You can see here that my right ring finger cannot touch my palm. That is because this got broken. In fact, if I straighten my fingers out, you can see that the ring finger pokes up a little bit more. That's because of a break. That happened because my neighbor, a very nice lady, she has a son who is not a nice guy, who wanted to hurt her, and I stopped him from doing so. And in trying to get away from my gorilla grip, he did manage to snap this part of my finger right here. So the joint naturally fused, and it doesn't go down anymore. Makes playing bass very uncomfortable, unfortunately, which is why I don't play it as much as I used to. But yeah, I've never had a problem defending myself from people. Like, at least not as an adult. When I was a kid, that's a whole nother thing. But when it comes down to it, like, that vulnerability I'm not very comfortable with, you know? So, if I can do something to fix it, fix the issue permanently, I'm going to be a very happy man. Because my plan is that whenever I'm able to do this full time, like, and I get a car and my own place, I am fully diving back into regular martial arts training, getting back into it. Because beyond the self-defense stuff, it's just fun. I hate to say this. I love being in a boxing ring. I fucking love it, dude. I love that sport so much. And clearly there's something wrong with me where I enjoy punching people in the head. But, you know, it is what it is. And I mentioned this, there's a Punisher video that Shirt Dude is almost done with. I think he might have actually just finished it today. So I'll upload it for patrons and channel members today. So one version will go up on Patreon, and then we'll have the members version. There will be a members to premiere version, but there will also be an uncensored version that gets posted in the Discord server. But one thing I mention in it is that talking about the Punisher being evil, like I stress this idea that there are some people that are just, their solution is violence. And some people struggle to comprehend that. It's just people are built different. I also talk about it in my Gundam my Wing Part 3 video, where I talk about how there's this idea that human beings have a natural violence to them. That there are those of us who like to and are good at fighting naturally. And that sort of level of combat, that type of desire for combat and the use of violence as a solution is something that is a part of humanity that, you know, some would argue we can't really train out of ourselves. It's natural. It's instinctive. It is part of our instincts to defend ourselves. It is part of our instincts to acquire things we do not have through the means that we have available. You know? So yeah, a lot of philosophical stuff in the next Gundam Explained for those of you who like that sort of shit. I love talking about it because for those who don't know, because some of you are newer, when I was in college, I was actually studying to be a preacher, following in my dad's footsteps. I ended up not going down that route. I made the mistake of falling in love. So, but regardless of that, that's what I was learning was philosophy and theology. So getting to dust off my philosophical background, I have a lot of fun with it. It's something I don't get to talk about enough, in my opinion. So getting to work it into my videos, I think is really cool. I really am thinking about doing a whole video about the mind of Treize Khushrenada, just focused on Treize, just a video essay about Treize and his philosophies and kind of like what he believes, because his beliefs are very familiar to anybody who has read about Napoleon Bonaparte or has read The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli, or anybody who has read Nietzsche as well. Like, Treize Khushrenada is a very deep character in a lot of ways. Hey! Servant of God, membership number. Thank you for that, dude. Now you guys have actually seen that notification. And it is heavy arms. Okay. Let's go ahead and take another pass. I think these have dried. Do the touch test. Whoa! Why did it say 0 membership silver? Servant gifted a membership to Italian Mat. There we go. There you go. There's the alert. So what it will do is it will say how many you gifted, and then it'll say like who all got a thing. And then the music for that is actually from Gundam Wing Endless Duel. It's the docks, if I remember right. And actually, I probably need to lower the volume of the alerts. I will do that at some point. Can't do it right now, 'cause I'm gonna be working. I'm gonna be doing stuff. But yeah, some people have actually asked me to do a video just on the philosophies of Treize Khushrenada, and I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'll probably do it in between working on the on the Grips War shit. I think that there's a lot of people that are waiting more so on Grips War than anything at this point, which I understand. There's a lot of people out there that are kind of UC purists, and I get it. The Universal Century is pretty awesome. At least the Tomino stuff is. I also know people want me to do a review of Victory. That's going to get touched up with Gundam marker. That sucks. So either the paint is too thick, or I stripped the gold accidentally. Which is entirely possible. Yep, I might have stripped it. It happens. It's not a big deal. Like I said, I came into this under the impression I was going to have to touch some of this up. Yep, fuck. See that right there? That's the undercoat coming through. So, it got stripped a little too much. So, we will touch that up with a Gundam marker when it dries. Let's try to clean this one off. Oh fuck, same thing's happening here. Basically, there was a thin spot of the gold layer, which is weird because I did 2 coats. But again, that's just something. It can be touched up with a Gundam marker. It's not a big deal. It just sucks that it happened because it's like, damn, all that work down the toilet. So that's a bummer. But I have a gold Gundam marker, so it's not a huge deal. Hey, Leo. But yeah, that's the thing that I like about Treize is that the difference between him and Duke Dermail is that Treize is very much a soldier's soldier in regards to how he treats his troops and his expectations for his troops. Now, granted, they don't always reach those expectations. We see a lot of Oz soldiers that do fucked up shit. But as we see with Lady Une, if Treize catches it, he will admonish it. And what we see later in Gundam Wing with the Treize faction, specifically, god damn, like a lot of this is getting stripped off. You know what? I think we're gonna let this just dry overnight and let it cure. We're not gonna fuck with it for right now. You guys have seen it, so now you know what the technique is. I'm not gonna touch it, any of these pieces anymore until they are completely dry. I think that it's just compounding thinner upon thinner and stripping the paint at this point. So, had a very good PD interview for a town in McHenry County. Town is looking for 2 to 3 within a year. Town is looking to expand a lot. Good. I hope you get it, buddy. Like I said, man, we need more good cops. Okay, so we're going to leave those parts alone. What mobile suit describes the role of a berserker? The Barbatos. Second to none. So, how about we switch gears for a second? Because we've only been going for an hour and a half. Let's do something different for the last half hour. We've shown what the reverse wash is. Let's go ahead. Make sure I'm getting all the parts. We're going to build the gym shield real quick. Because I haven't ordered new arms for that gym yet, so we're just going to give him his shield and then put him up. Okay. This won't take long. So let's go ahead and put these up on sticks. Okay, there we go. And then, yeah. Let's grab some paints for this specifically. Let's move that out of the way. So we need to move my rubbing alcohol out of the way. And then we need yellow. And where's the red? Is it right here? It is. Red. And white. Excuse me. Okay, we're getting a good spray. A very good spray. Let's go ahead and prip some primer. Get my Q-tips out of the way. Finished watching Gundam X. It was good. The ending was a little rushed. Well, there's a reason for that. It's because they got their show length cut. Because it got canceled. So they had to rush the ending. There was going to be a whole big space chapter where they go over the colonies and how they retreat, how things happened after the war with them. We get more of Jamil's Char clone in that as well. Stuff like that. Because one thing that people do not realize about Gundam X is that Jamil Neat is not a clone of Char Aznable or Quattro Bagina. He is a clone of Amuro Ray. A lot of people miss that detail. Which is unfortunate because I think it gives him a really cool wrinkle. There's a reason that when he first jumps into the Gundam X Divider and he faces off against that little fucking kid with the knot cubile, and he basically decimates him. He makes it look easy. It's because he's supposed to be a parallel to Amuro. Alright, let me click this, turn off the ring light, angle this up. Let's get to priming. Again, we want to get just enough on this to make sure that the paint is going to stick. And that's about it. Want to make sure we get all sides of it. There we go. Now for the cross. And now for the front of the shield. Again, anytime you prime something, you do the sides first, then the front. And with the front, as you saw there, I pulled the gun back a little bit more, and I just let the primer spray out over the longer distance. And we're going to hit the back. Oh, it ran out, so we're not going to worry about the back. But, that is generally speaking how you want to prime these things. Keep in mind that this is a technique where I'm just looking to give it enough to where it is covering it to make sure the paint sticks. Have a good night, Ginger. Thank you for the super chat and for coming and hanging out with us. Sleep well, dude. You know, it shouldn't do this, but every time I say the word sleep well, my brain immediately goes to the fucking final boss of Fatal Fury 2, whose name escapes me at the moment, but y'all know who I'm talking about. It's Geese Howard's half-brother. What's his name? It's not Kaiser. What is his name? The only thing I'm remembering is that it's a very ostentatiously German name. Does anybody know? Off the top of anyone's head? But anyway, the reason I bring that up is what he says before he fights you is, I'll chisel your gravestone. Sleep well. It's a very cocky taunt. I love it. It also shows a level of respect, too. I'm thinking about starting a second playthrough to celebrate the first anniversary of Baldur's Gate 3 as a Dark Urge Sorcerer. Any advice to give me for a decent build for the Sorcerer? My advice anytime you are making a spellcaster in Baldur's Gate 3 is not a bad idea to, early in the game, forego a little bit of offensive power to up your armor class. So, like, they tell you to put a 17 in your int for a character when you're a sorcerer or a wizard. I would argue that it's better to actually put it to 15 or 16 and then put those points in dex to increase your armor class. Because you're only going to be able to wear light armor at best, right? So the ability to use light armor to increase your armor class is good for you because, generally speaking, the way that the AI works in Baldur's Gate is it targets whoever in your party has the lowest AC first. So if you're the spellcaster and you do kind of the typical, D&D thing of one person's a spellcaster, one person's a melee guy, one person's your rogue, da-da-da-da-da. If you do that, then having a higher armor class will make it easier for you to survive engagements. So that would be my advice, because you can always bump the strength of your spells as you go along. That is what I did when I did Dark Urge, and I had a lot of success with it. I ended up multi-classing mine, though. I did a half sorcerer, half wizard, because I wanted necromancy. I wanted the ability to make zombies, and wizards can't do that. Wolfgang Krauser, thank you, Greg. I appreciate that. I was like dying over here, like, what is his fucking name? But yeah, that's my general advice for Baldur's Gate spellcasters, is don't disregard your AC. Make sure that it is high enough to where you are properly defended. Okay, I am getting a lot of paint smell, which is not good for my lungs. Yeah, it's barely going through that filter, so I need to change it. So I am gonna clean this out. Let that paint thinner just kind of sit in there for a second. I might grab another filter. Yoink! Bam. Easy enough, right? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now I just have to get my chair back up. There we go. Okay. So, clean this out real quick. His life, he keeps you awake because you have people to talk to. That's funny. Well, I am glad I can help. Happy to be doing a community service. Alien Romulus comes out tomorrow. Really? I have not decided if I'm going to go see that in theaters yet. I've got a little bit of spending money. Not a whole lot. But Space Marine. You know, Space Marine 2 might take priority. As it was known with the first game, Spice Marine! Kill them humans! Got Spice Marines to kill. I don't know why, but I've always been tickled by the fact that the orcs in 40k are basically just Cockney Brits. It's like, what did the creators mean by this? So if I ever want to be in, like, fitting in Britain, I'll just talk like an orc. That's all I'll do. Oi, bruv. You kill any Spice Marines today? It's going to be interesting, though, in whatchamacallit, in Space Marine 2 to have enemies that don't talk shit to you. Because in this next one, your main foe are the Tyranids. And apparently Chaos is coming back. Though, to the degree that they're coming back, we don't know. Because, let's be honest, the dopest Space Marine fights are against Chaos Space Marines. It just makes sense for that to be there if you're doing a game about Space Marines. Because, no offense to those of you out there that like Tyranids, it's just, they don't have character. They're just bugs. They're just xenomorphs, basically, but more fucked up in a lot of ways. Like, they're not as compelling as, you know, the Chaos Marines, the Chaos Legions, you know? But it's, once again, you know, we are Charging into battle with Space Marines with Cadian Guardsmen at our back. Only now we'll all be chanting Cadia broke before the guard did. Ah, fuck, there's a piece I forgot to prime. Oh well. We're just gonna paint it. Fuck it. Fuck it, fuck it, fuck it. Put $1 in the fuck it bucket. Thoughts about Tamino pulling a Miyazaki and coming back to do more? I am 100% down. Let's fucking go. Because, here's the thing. Tamino coming back, that means one of two things, or one of three things is going to happen. Well, he might do a whole new show, but if he does Gundam, which he might not, because he kind of considered G-Reco to be his retirement from Gundam. But if he decides to do Gundam, it means Crossbone, I think. Either that, or he's finally getting to do, he's finally getting a full series for F91. Which I honestly think, if I were Sunrise, if he wants to do F91, like a full series of Gundam F91, let him do it. Because the big thing is that the voice actor for Amuro Ray had to retire in disgrace. Because he was fucking around with a girl that was like half his age, and he raised his hand to her. You know? So he ain't coming back. So there's your Amuro. He's gone. So bring in Seabook. Seabook Arno is a great character. He has a lot of parallels to Amuro. In my opinion, he's almost as good of a pilot as Amuro is. Not quite, but he's up there. But, yeah, let's hope for both. I'm very stoked that Tamino's coming back, though. Tamino about to come up in here and show everybody what the business is, what he's gonna do. Because, like, I saw on Twitter that a lot of people were showing a ton of appreciation for him in comparison to Miyazaki. Because, basically, like, Miyazaki is an old fucking grump. Whereas Tamino if you look at his accomplishments, and you look at all the people that he trained, and then went on to work on other Gundam shows and other shows in general, and created their own classics, it's hard to like, argue against the idea that Tamino is quite possibly the biggest influence on anime as we understand it outside of Go Nagai, you know, or the anime and manga scene, you know? At least that's how I see it. That's high praise for Seabonk. Hey, Seabrook is a talented pilot, dude. Like, he is very good. You see more of it in Crossbone than you do in F91. But in F91, he pulls off some slick shit when he gets used to that mobile suit, dude. Has this dried? It has. Alright, let's go ahead and assemble this shield. One thing to mention, it's like that crazy fucking sword maneuver. Seabook Arno was using a sword on a chain long before Kratos did it in God of War. Like, Seabook's creativity in the Crossbone Gundam, in the X1, was something to behold. He's very talented as a pilot. The big thing about Seabook is we don't really see him in Crossbone doing a whole lot of crazy shit because he's largely focusing on enemy aces and keeping them away from his ground troops as opposed to, like, doing a lot of, fighting ground troops. How is this supposed to go? Clips in like that. Okay. Chainsaws seem like they'd be more of a danger to you than the person you're trying to kill. Well, it's basically used to emphasize his skill with the weapon. He's so precise with it that he never hurts any of his allies. Whereas with Kratos, when he's using it, he doesn't give a fuck. He's just swinging those fucking things. It's chaotic, which tells you something about the character. There we go. One Jim shield, nicely painted. Alright, Jim, come here. Can you hold this in your left hand? Will it stay there? I wonder, is this supposed to snap in like that? It is. Okay. So he can hold it. Cool. Salute. There we go. We have finished Jim. So what we'll do with Jim is we will put him in my bedroom with the rest of my 1 Year War stuff. And that is where he will stay. Came out pretty good. You know, despite all the bullshit we went through with this one. Pretty slick. Alright, guys. We're going to leave the camera focused on Jim here. We're going to go ahead and call it there. I'm going to go ahead and put the manual in my box of parts in case I ever want to give him his weapon. The rest of this in here is junk. So we can go ahead and... Well, actually, no, there's some spare parts in here, so we'll save those. And just in case I ever decide I want to put the decals on them, I'll save those too. Fuck it. Not saving the stickers. Stickers are fucking terrible. Fuck that. Fuck all that noise, man. And the rest of this goes into the garbage. But yeah, good stuff. I am a happy camper. And Columbia puts a good thing here. Tamado is your perfect steak and potatoes. Miyazaki is milk and cookies. One is sweet and nice, the other is succulent and nutritional. And that's the funny thing, because like of the two of them in regards to like how nice they are as people, Tamado is like the really nice, the nice guy, and like Miyazaki's kind of an asshole. Like, you gotta keep in mind, working with Miyazaki made Hideaki Anno want to kill himself. You know? On Nadia, Secret of the Blue Water. Which I still need to watch. Saw the live feed on the Grindstone channel. I'm glad you found it interesting. That is a fun podcast to do. To say the least. Alright guys, it has been a couple of hours. We're going to take off and call it there. I am going to grab some food, because I have not eaten breakfast yet. I'm going to grab some food and get to work on the next Gundam video. And then, and yeah, next time we do this will be on Saturday, and we'll be working on the legs of the Sinanju. So, everybody have yourselves a great night, and I will see you on Saturday.